Our first story is about a little girl's determination that touches the hearts of everyone around her, proving that miracles do happen when we least expect them. The title is A Little Girl's $3 Miracle, an unbelievable heartwarming story. Emily, a sweet little girl with a heart full of hope, carefully opened her piggy bank. She had saved every coin she could find, thinking today would be the day she could change her brother's fate. Clutching a handful of coins, she set out on a mission, her tiny steps determined yet unsure. Her older brother, Jake, had been diagnosed with a brain tumor. Emily had overheard her parents talking late one night, her dad's voice shaking as he whispered, "The doctors say it'll take a miracle. We don't have the money for the surgery. Without it, we might lose him." Tears filled her mother's eyes as she clutched her hands together, praying for something, anything, that could save her son. That night, Emily made up her mind. She would find that miracle. With her coins jingling in her pocket, Emily headed straight to the local pharmacy. The big glass door seemed so heavy, but she pushed through, walking inside with the weight of the world on her little shoulders. She approached the counter, her heart racing. The pharmacist, Mr. Roberts, was busy talking to a friend from overseas, unaware of the little girl standing below him. Emily waited patiently, but no one seemed to notice her. With all the courage she could muster, she finally spoke up, her tiny voice barely audible over the noise in the shop. "I need a miracle," she said, standing on her tiptoes to reach the counter. Mr. Roberts didn't hear her at first, so she repeated, "Excuse me, sir, I need to buy a miracle." Startled, Mr. Roberts looked down at the small girl, puzzled by her request. "A miracle? I'm afraid we don't sell those here, sweetheart. We sell medicine, not miracles." But Emily wasn't deterred. "You sell medicine, don't you? So you must sell miracles too. My brother needs one. The doctor said only a miracle can save him." Tears welled up in her eyes, but she remained brave. Mr. Roberts was speechless. Just as he was about to explain again, his friend leaned in, intrigued by the conversation. "How much money do you have for this miracle?" his friend asked gently. Emily slowly opened her small hand and placed her coins on the counter. "I have $3, she said, looking up at the man with hope glimmering in her eyes. The man smiled softly and said, "Well, it just so happens that $3 is the exact price of a miracle today." He bent down and looked her in the eye. "Take me to your brother." As the surgeon and Emily stood at the door of her home, her parents were inside, sitting in silence, weighed down by despair. Her mother, Sarah, had been crying for hours, unable to find the strength to eat or even speak. Her father, Tom, was staring blankly at the medical bills piled up on the table, wondering how their life had come to this point. The once lively and joyous home was now filled with an unbearable heaviness. Emily pushed the door open and quietly called out, "Mom, Dad, I found someone who can help Jake." At first, Sarah and Tom didn't even look up, assuming it was another neighbor stopping by to offer condolences before the worst had even happened. But when Sarah noticed the tall man standing beside Emily, something flickered in her eyes, a faint glimmer of hope she hadn't felt in weeks. The man introduced himself and explained who he was. He wasn't just any friend of the pharmacist. He was one of the world's most renowned pediatric surgeons, visiting Mr. Roberts while in town for a medical conference. As Emily recounted how she went to buy a miracle with her $3, her parents couldn't help but tear up. They had no idea their little girl had taken on such a huge burden by herself, trying to find a way to save her brother. Tom hugged Emily tightly, overwhelmed by the love and bravery she had shown. The surgeon assured them that he would take care of everything. The surgery, the expenses, it was all covered. Later that week, with the help of that kind stranger, who turned out to be a renowned surgeon, the little girl's brother underwent a life-saving surgery. Against all odds, Jake recovered fully. That $3 miracle wasn't found on a pharmacy shelf, but in the kindness and love that surrounded Emily and her family. Sometimes, all it takes is a small act of faith to spark the miracles we need. Remember, miracles come in many forms, often through the love and compassion of others. Emily's story reminds us to never underestimate the power of hope, no matter how small the gesture may seem. I hope this story touched your heart as much as it did mine. If it resonated with you, please stay with us and watch the video till the end. Don't forget to like and share it with your friends and family, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more heartfelt stories. Thank you so much for watching. Our second story is about a brother's realization for the true depth of his sister's selflessness. The title is The Sacrifice of a Sister, a Heartfelt Story of Love and Regret. I used to never think much of my sister. Sure, she was married, but I never visited her home. Only our parents went to see her. I barely knew how she was doing. When she came to visit our house, my mother would always give her something, like household items or food. This small gesture, though, angered my wife. Why does your mom keep giving things to your sister? Every time she comes, she leaves with something. Tell your mom this can't continue, or I'll say something myself, my wife would complain. I listened to her frustrations and eventually I grew angry too. One day I confronted my mother. Why do you keep giving things to her? This is my hard-earned money, and if you keep wasting it on others, I'll kick you out of this house. My sister overheard my harsh words, but she didn't say anything. An hour later, she came into my room and gently said, "Brother, could you call a cab for me? I need to go back home." Inside, I was thrilled. She was leaving. But trying to seem polite, I responded, "Why don't you stay for a few more days?" "No, the kids' school break is over. I need to leave," she said quietly. She gathered her things and left without a fuss. Time passed, and after our father passed away, my brother and I split the family property between ourselves. We gave nothing to our sister, even though our mother pleaded with us to give her a share. We silenced our mother with harsh words and threats. Our poor sister had nowhere else to go but back to her small home. My older brother sold his share of the property and moved to the city, trying to start a new business. But soon, his business failed, and he struggled to make ends meet, doing odd jobs just to survive. Meanwhile, my son fell ill. Tuberculosis, they said. His treatment cost us a fortune, draining all of our savings. I was forced to borrow money just to keep our household running, and soon we were deep in debt. Amid all this, one day, my sister visited again. I hadn't seen her in a long time. I was still angry with her, blaming her for my misfortunes. But she ignored my coldness. She went to my son's side, looked at him lovingly, and then came to me. "Brother, are you worried?" she asked softly. Placing her hand gently on my head, she continued, "I'm your elder sister. You used to play in my lap when we were children. And now look at you, so grown up, but still keeping your worries from me." Then, without another word, she took off her gold bracelet and placed them in my hand. "Sell this," she said. "Use the money for your son's treatment, and to buy groceries for your family. If you need more, I'll find a way to help. But promise me you won't tell anyone about this. Swear it on me." I was speechless. Tears welled up in my eyes as I looked at my sister, who was offering the only precious thing she had. She kissed my forehead and said, "I have to go now. Your brother-in-law and the kids must be waiting for me. I'll visit again soon." As she walked out, I noticed for the first time, her shoes were worn out, and her clothes were old and faded. How had I never noticed her struggle? I had never cared enough to ask about her life, her hardships, and yet, when she saw my pain, she came running to help me without hesitation, offering me everything she had. I stood there, holding her bracelet in my hands, and sobbed uncontrollably. How selfish I had been. We brothers, so wrapped up in our own lives, had pushed her aside, treating her like a stranger. But a sister? A sister can't bear to see her brother suffer, no matter how badly he's treated her. So, my friends, if you have a sister, take the time to sit with her. Ask her about her life, her struggles. Don't wait until it's too late to realize the depth of her love. May every sister's life be filled with happiness. And note, if you have a sister, don't forget to check in on her, even when you think she's doing fine. I hope this story touched your heart. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, Don't forget to like and share it with your friends. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming stories. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of this journey.